arguably in the band the least amount of time. I mean, you had Lemmy, you had Filthy Phil, you had Fast Eddie. All those guys, I thought the original three are dead. Mickey D drummed for that band for a long time after Diamond, and Phil Campbell was in the band for a long time too. Mickey D is drumming for the Scorps now. But because those original three guys, if Motorhead gets in, there's nobody left from the original lineup. So the guys who aren't going to be inducted with Motorhead would have to be up there to induct them into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And that happens a lot, with bands that have a lot of lineup changes. They'll just take the original guys. Like I think when Van Halen got in, they were going to put, I don't know if Sammy went in with Van Halen or what, but that happens a lot where they'll say, well, we're only going to put, if it's a band that's been around for a long, long time, and they've had 2 or 3 lineup changes or they've swapped guys out, a lot of times there'll be some animosity because they go, hey, I was in a band for 20 years. Why am I not getting in? So I don't know what that process consists of, but I was reading a little thing because I'm Team Motorhead all the way. I assume that they and Judas Priest might split the vote somehow, but you can go to rockhall.com and you can vote for up to 5 nominees per day. So if you really want to get yourself into the mix there, Poundcake, you can be on there every day. Vote for Whitney. You can. You can go on there every day and vote for Whitney Houston.
Tell everybody else to vote Whitney Houston.
Octo Thorpe, vote Whitney, according to Poundcake. Elijah Cummings died.
Oh, yeah, that's sad.
I thought that this guy was 85 years old.
I thought so, too.
Right?
I didn't know he was 68.
68 years old.
That's nothing.
He didn't even get into
Baltimore years, being a black person from Baltimore, he was 158 years old.
He survived the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And this is what
in
kills
Baltimore. That's why he looks so old.
Yeah,
you understand what Baltimore is?
I had no idea that he was that young. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was awake again in the middle of the night, and I'm scrolling through the news at about 2:45, and it said that Elijah Cummings died. I was like, oh, my God.
Sad and so unexpected.
I guess he had surgery a couple of weeks ago. He had been quietly dealing with some health stuff, and then he had surgery, and they think that he died from complications of that. But he'd only been in the United States Congress for... He was in his mid-40s when that happened. He was in the Baltimore state House before that. But I thought that he had been in Congress for a lot longer than that. But he was in his mid-40s. But he was the head of the Oversight Committee. He was very vocal.
Against Trump.
Yes, that's right. So it was like, I'm sure there are a lot of people that read that and were like,
yeah, exactly.
What's going on? He died in hospice care at 2:45 this morning. That's exactly when I was awake and looking. Poundcake, could it be that Elijah Cummings and I were somehow linked?
Maybe.
Psychically? Could that be the case? I mean, despite having a great name for porn, he gave, right?
That's a good one.
He gave, Elijah Cummings, he gave the people of Maryland a great name to represent them.
For sure, but you know what? It sucks that he was in hospice and no one even knew. So they knew he was going to die.
Well, yeah, because he hadn't been seen for a little while, and there's so much going on that you forget. You'd forget, yeah. But here was his first speech in '96 when he was elected to the United States Congress.
I've often said on the floor of the Maryland House of Delegates that our world would be a much better world and a much better place if we would only concentrate on the things we have in common instead of concentrating on our differences. It's easy to find differences. Very easy. We need to take more time to find common ground.
He was a lot more level-headed when Trump was hurling epithets at Baltimore and what a hellhole it was and whatever. And all these people from Baltimore were understandably very upset. And Elijah Cummings was like, look, why don't you come to Baltimore and meet some people and talk to some people? He could have gone off on him, too. But Bill's absolutely right. In Baltimore years, 68 is elderly.
Especially for a black male.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just thought that he was a lot older than that. I had no idea that he wasn't even 70 yet.
You guys make me never want to go to Baltimore, the way you guys speak of it. I've never been to Baltimore. I know
Who was just in here that was from that area? Mike Winfield? Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you go to...
Baltimore's a beautiful city.
There's very good parts of Baltimore.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he grew up in a rougher neighborhood.
It just makes it very odd because Maryland is the wealthiest state in the country. So for Baltimore to just be like a crap hole It's like that's their only major
any
city.
It has major city. It's parts of it.
It's also called.
But it's all tied together pretty.
It's also called historic income inequality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I was reading that the most incarcerated zip code in the United States is a suburb south of Milwaukee, where
Really?
most of the black males in that zip code are in prison for something. So, Baltimore is a
Milwaukee.
beautiful city, though. What's that?
Milwaukee. It's white.
Yeah, Milwaukee. Why is Baltimore getting such a bad rap when Milwaukee exists, by the way? Which is unfair. I haven't been to Milwaukee in probably 25 years, but growing up in Chicago, you were just, you don't like Milwaukee, right? Like my brother, out of spite, I became a White Sox fan as a kid because my family were all Cubs fans.
Right.
Out of spite, in retrospect, I don't know. I don't know that I realized how much spite there was. But my brother,
There's a lot of spite out there.
my brother has been a lifelong Brewers fan. And so, anytime something was going on with the Brewers, there's like a cool echo coming. Something.
I'm trying to.
Sweet.
We're a little out of sorts with live.
It's been on for about a week, and so now we're kind of getting back to our
things back in order.
Uh-huh.
I'm hoping that helps.
I don't hear the hiss anymore. Now I hear an echo.
Whoa, that's weird. What is that? What is going on?
I think that's my headphones. Sorry.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
We're all gonna die.
Seems a little dramatic.
You can talk without me.
No, I like the silence.
No, but I need you to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hi. What's going on? Live from the basement.
I'm surprised that from Elijah Cummings, like he tweeted out about how great he was. I was expecting.
Oh, I imagine someone said, "Please, sir, let me write something."
That's what I'm saying. I was expecting President Petty because when John McCain died, he was like, "Oh, well, he wasn't my type of person." I was like, you didn't say that about the man that is just not like deceased for a year, like not saying that now. He said it like immediately after the death. People are
He's
still
not my type of person.
body's still warm, or like still a little warm. Like,
They were
damn.
speaking in Korean, and I took my shoes off, and I could tell this guy.
Isn't it?
This is not my kind of guy.
Isn't it bad that like I have to look? I was like, okay, I'm glad the president said something good about someone that died. Isn't that just like pathetic? I saw that tweet. I'm like, oh well,
I didn't see the tweet.
I'm happy for you. Thanks for saying something about him and not being petty.
Speaking of live from the basement, did you read about that family in the Netherlands that they found in a basement in a barn? Like
Yeah,
these,
I've heard of these people.
these kids.
It is your headphones, Bill.
It was the headphones, but like I got it worked out now, I think. So if people are listening on the live stream, then they can text Alan and tell them whether or not it sounds okay on the live stream now.
What about
All
the
right.
basement?
Hansel and Gretel.
I
But
thought,
they didn't have enough candy.
Yeah.
Or they didn't have enough bread to get home.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is what I thought of. Where they found her in the Doomsday Cellar.
Apocalypse, apocalypse, we caused it with our dumbness.
Goddamn, I love that show.
I'm being told that the entire
A miracle
YouTube
today
feed
in
is
Durnsville,
distorted.
Indiana. 4 women rescued from an underground apocalypse cult.
It's all still here.
Anyway, yeah, they found like 9 kids. One of them got out. 9 kids. Dutch family of 7 have been living in a farmhouse basement for the last 9 years.
What town is this?
Hegenfurgen? I don't know.
I was getting ready-
A farm in the Drenthe province.
I was getting ready to blame it on Hillary Clinton. I was like, so they did have a sex thing in the basement.
This is
A sex
farmhouse
ring.
gate, is what you're trying to say. No, a Dutch
Pizzagate.
family. There was an older male in there who they say they don't think is the father. So they're trying to figure out who the hell the guy is. I think the mother died. And they spent 9 years waiting for the end of the world in a basement. One person said these people didn't know that there were other people out there, which can't be true. I mean, the oldest.
You can brainwash people into believing whatever you want. If they step outside, they'll melt into acid or whatever. Like, I don't know.
A
Yeah,
58-year-old.
religion's a powerful thing.
Right, but what I'm saying is they were in there for 9 years. And the siblings, there was a 58-year-old guy, and then the siblings ranged from 18 to 25, which means the youngest one would have gone in when he was 9. And at 9, You know there's other stuff out there. Like, anyway. The oldest...
But didn't they think that everything had gone away?
I guess, yeah.
I think it's that kind of thing. It's not like they didn't know there was anything. They just thought everything was destroyed.
Yeah, one of the quotes was that they didn't... Yeah, maybe I read it wrong. They didn't think there were any other people out there. Yeah, okay. The oldest escaped from the basement, ran to a nearby pub.
This is why day drinking's good. Do not shame people for day drinking. If there's nobody at the pub, these people are not saved.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody, a barkeep, to make sure that if somebody does come in from a doomsday cult, there's somebody to greet them.
Ohio City used to be notorious for this. You go try and get lunch in Ohio City, and nothing was open during the day.
Sure.
And now everything's got lunches going.
Yeah.
And that's good, and that could save people's lives.
Now, have they saved any cult members? I'm sure there's some kind of cults in some basements in Ohio City.
No,
As a
but,
former resident myself, it doesn't
they've-
seem beyond the realm of possibility.
They've helped me get lunch, which I also appreciate.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Also makes them a hero.
Yeah. Good pun. The owner of the bar said that the kid who came in was unkempt and looked confused. He proceeded to order 5 beers and then drank them.
I believe it. That's what I would
How
do.
did he pay for them? If you walked into a bar and said, I was just released from a basement, I'm part of a doomsday cult, give me 5 beers, they'd be like, let's see some ID, Chachi.
The way he looked, they were like, you deserve these no matter
But
what.
that's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV. You muss up your hair. You wear some dusty clothes. You walk into a bar in an off hour, and you go, I've just escaped. I haven't been outside in almost a decade. I need a beer. And they give you a beer. And then he goes, I need 4 more. And then he runs out.
Wait, so
And they're like, was anyone holding you hostage? You're like, no, Netflix rules. I like Netflix
Yeah.
a lot. I've just been watching shows.
so I have a question about
That's
this.
where you get these damn socialist countries. Free beers.
So all the siblings were male, right?
No, I don't know about that.
I thought it was a boy and a girl.
Yeah, brothers, and the kid told the guy at the bar he had brothers and sisters who lived at the farm. He said he was the oldest and wanted to end the way they were living.
What do you think that they were doing in there for all those years? I'm telling you.
Let's
And
not-
all those teenage boys, all those hormones, they thought they were going to save the world.
But that's still their sister.
Desperate
they were-
times call for desperate
But
measures.
there's no
9 years, Alan?
there's no indication that
You
they
would
were
be
trying
looking
to.
at a dog at that point.
No, I think if anyone's doing the abusing, it's the 58-year-old guy.
Yeah.
All of them, I bet, were doing it. All of them were doing it. I bet you.
That's the sound of the police.
9 years.
They
All
said-
those boys.
They said the man who was
How many
living
boys
with
were
them.
there? There's 2 boys, 1 girl?
Something like that.
It's not nice.
That's what you said.
I didn't say it was good. I
You
just said
started down this line of questioning.
9 years.
9.
You wake up and it's like, okay, well that's
Nine.
not hay. Sister got some ass. Like, oh my God.
That's not
These
hay.
kids are confusing
Sister got
ass
some
with
ass.
hay.
That's not padding, bro.
You're confusing hay with straw, I think.
Okay.
They said that the man living with the children is not their father, nor does he own the farmhouse. They said, we're trying to figure out who this guy is. The mother is believed to have died before the family moved into the house. So, yeah, some boys, some girls, they had no contact with the outside world, entirely self-sufficient. They lived off a vegetable garden and a few animals. Boy, imagine being one of the animals around there, always looking over your shoulder,
You mark my words. They were,
freaking out.
they were doing stuff.
Why would they be doing stuff?
Incest barn.
They're so
Incest barn. I'm
Tonight
telling
on
you.
Incest Barn.
Incest.
They're going to make a movie about this.
Incest Barn. No, listen, you're so malnourished, they probably didn't even have the energy to do much of anything.
Oh, you make energy.
This guy over here.
You think those Chilean
Fine.
miners weren't doing nothing down there in that hole?
Oh, God.
I'm telling you.
They were getting Chilean down there. Chilean miners.
They were,
What, you think there was an orgy with the Chilean miners in
They
that
were-
little tiny...
They were struggling to
Yeah.
breathe.
people were passing down pornos. Like, they were passing down porno
They
magazines. down
weren't
there.
passing down
Yes, they
porno.
were.
Why? They could
The
get 'em-
outsiders were.
They could get them porno magazines. They couldn't get them out. They couldn't get them food and
Yes,
water.
It's easier to pass down a magazine than to carry up a person.
Yeah, but for a while they were worried they wouldn't even be able to get them food and water. They're giving them porn magazines. Hey, at least you'll die happy.
Look it up. I saw it. I was like, yeah, that's what I would want to. If I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out with a bang. If you pardon the pun.
Think how hairy that Chilean porn probably is too. Oh my
And
god.
it's in that stinky hole the whole time. Ugh.
And in the mine.
It's called a vagina, all right? I know you're not a fan, but it's not stinky, and I wish you would stop referring to it that way.
And there were Chilean minors, Poundcake. They were all under 18, all right?
Well, you know him.
No, you don't know me. Shut up.
I'm starting to. Mr. Incest Barn over here.
Yeah, incest barn.
For 9 years.
Take a cold shower.
9
you
years.
know how he does things.
Yeah, I know. You couldn't handle it for 9 years, Poundcake? You couldn't handle it.
No, I couldn't handle it for 9 years. Hey, I molest children. You wouldn't be able to handle it for 9 years.
Doogies practically hasn't had sex for 9 years.
She
Go
belongs
talk to her.
underneath the barn.
She's not calling, but she's not calling her brother.
She's on the outside world and she's not getting any. I'm not concerned about her.
Nobody's
She's Superwoman.
nobody's using their siblings as a slump buster.
She's also not an 10, an adolescent age. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you're from 9 years old to 20.
Are you saying that Dougie doesn't have any desire to have sex anymore?
She's an adult and she makes that decision, so I'm sure she probably doesn't have a desire.
Too much pound cake.
She's not a teenage boy. She doesn't have the hormones of a teenage boy.
I bet she does.
Girls
But
are
extreme
different.
circumstances are going to change the way you develop, too.
Yes. I would think the last thing you'd be thinking about was sex.
I think you're wrong.
Because day to day, you're just dealing with, like,
Trying to survive.
and
Yeah.
chores.
If the
You're like,
world
how
was
long am I
ending-
going to be in this barn?
if the world was ending, you're like,
Yeah, if
one
you
bang.
knew the world was ending. But when after 9 years,
They thought the world was ending. That's why they stayed down there that long.
but it takes 2 minutes for the world to end. They're down there for 9 years. They probably
Okay.
didn't know how long they were down there
All right.
either. The guy probably didn't fill it with clocks and calendars.
I'm telling you. Why?
You got to keep these keep these kids dumb so
As-
they don't ask any questions.
As the story develops, I guarantee you it's going to be like, and then we found there's a baby somewhere in there, and it turns out it's the brothers and the sisters.
A sexual threesome.
Watch.
Gross. We
Watch.
found a baby.
Yeah, just like they found a whole family down there. You act like that's so like extreme. Who lives underneath a barn for 9 years and not getting none?
This guy put these
Not getting
and not getting none.
It's all you're focused on.
It's always
not
getting some.
any. Living
Yeah.
on your barn, not getting
Because
any.
they're teenagers.
Man.
That's all I was thinking
You
about.
know who also didn't get laid when they were a teenager? Me.
Bill
But it's
Squire.
not like you didn't have access to it. It was all around you.
Yeah, I had access to it, couldn't get it.
You didn't live in a hole for
I
9
didn't have,
years.
I didn't have access to it, really.
By the way, it being all around you does not mean you have access to
Right.
it. It means you can see it. Doesn't mean you have access to it.
I'm just saying you're not cut off, and the only female you see.
It's like they talk about people with access to health care. Yeah, it's there. I just can't afford it.
Okay.
Wait till later on when I tell you about the penis transplant guy. God knows what his opinions are going to be on that. Put this guy in the incest barn.
You just wait till this news story develops.
Hey, what's up, sis? It's been 8 years. Let's get it on.
You stuffy it, bro.
Hey, what's going on?
With hay.
With hay and goat meat. All right. Carnival of Horrors. I should have called that segment Carnival of Horrors. It's going on out at Blossom for Halloween through November 2nd. I'll have passes for you after the break if you want to get out there. 35192 if you want to text.